In this lesson we're going to convert another JavaScript file to TypeScript, and that is constants.js. Right here we can see that we have three constants that have values of the valid pages. So why don't we create a separate type that would determine which page names are actually valid. Let's use type alias and call this type page name. And to define this type, we're going to basically use union type and combine types of the following constants: page timeline, page activities, and page progress. We're also using operator typeOf to extract type of each of these constants. And eventually we're gonna get union type, which will allow only three values: timeline, activities, and progress. Later we're gonna use this type, but for now let's scroll down and consider the following array, nowItems. As we can see, it stores objects with two properties. So let's declare a separate interface to describe the shape of these objects. Let's call this interface nowItem. As we can see, it is supposed to store two properties, page and icon. And by the way, property page should store only valid page names. And since we have already declared the type which describes valid page names, it's called page name. So let's use this type as the type for the page property. And as for another property icon, we're temporarily going to use type any right here, because everything related to icons is contained in another JavaScript module, which we're going to work on in the future lessons. Once again, using any type should be avoided, so we're definitely going to come back to this place in the future lessons. And now that we have a type for nowItem objects, let's use type annotation to describe the type for nowItem's constant. So this constant is supposed to store an array of nowItem objects. And of course, in order for all those type annotations to work, we have to rename the file and use proper extension ts. And now if we scroll up and hover over on this page name type, we can see that this type allows only for three values, and those values are valid page names in our application. Next, if we're gonna scroll down further, right here we're gonna see several button types declared as a separate constants, and then all these types are gathered in button types array. So just like we did for valid page names, we're going to declare a new type. Let's call this type button type. And here I'm basically going to use union type to combine all valid button types into a single type, just like we have done for the page name type. So we're extracting the type of each constant and using union operator to combine all valid button types. And now after hovering over on this new type, we can see it only allows for the following button types. So that means if we're going to annotate this array, which is supposed to store only valid button types, with newly created type, and also we should use square brackets since this is an array of valid button types. This is going to prevent us from adding wrong data types to this array, because the moment we'll add wrong type, we're gonna see TypeScript error, because this string clearly is not valid button type. And at the bottom of this file there is this generate_select_options function call, and just because this function is defined in another JavaScript module, let's not try to properly type return value of this function just yet. For now we're going to use any type for this constant, and later when we're gonna properly type all JavaScript files, including the module where this function is defined, we're gonna come back to this place and use proper type instead of type any. Let's apply formatting to this file and finish this lesson. Link to the source code of this project will be in the video description.